Good morning, students.
Morning, sir.
Are you hearing my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay, so as a part of the paper one, History of India, we are already discussed up to the Khilji dynasty, and in the last class, uh, we have discussion over particularly Jalaluddin Khilji and Alauddin Khilji and Alauddin uh, tenure and his legacy with his reforms, particularly market and revenue, military and revenue reforms. Okay, so then after Khalji dynasty, we had the Tughlaqs. They comes the Tughlaq dynasty as a part of the chronological order. And before going to my lecture, and then I'll continue my lecture. Okay, so uh, Alauddin Khilji was one of the important ruler in the history of Delhi Sultanate, and during his tenure, uh, up to 12, uh, uh, 1200 and 1200 and his ruling starts from 1296, who ruled up to 1316 or like that. And during his tenure he followed certain important reforms, particularly his market reforms and revenue and military reforms, which was popular and forerunner to the future. Because where the Mughals also followed such a reforms, particularly like abolition of these land grants and particularly military reforms like following the Dag system and Chahara, maintaining Chahara like that. Okay, so during the Akbar and Sher Shah's times, you see such reforms also. Okay, so basically, his tenure, totally Alauddin tenure, was somewhat remarkable one because he extended the territory from north to south. He was the first Sultan who touched the Deccan, first of all, and his trusted general Malik Kapoor, who touched the southern tip up to the Pandyas, or like that. Okay, so not only that, he during his time he captured many territories, particularly the Devagiri and Gujarat. His first successful campaign over Gujarat, and where Malik Kapoor became his noble. Okay, so and Alauddin, when he sees administration, Alauddin followed the divine right theory, whereas the Balban, since the Balban is continuing, yeah, even though it's a theocratic state, and he strictly followed the divine right theory, like he treated him as a representative of the god, and even though he followed the divine right theory, and he deviated the ulemas interfere in the affairs of the state. Okay, so in the administration of the state. Okay, so and he restricted, first of all, restructured. Okay, so the restructured spy system during his times, because Balban, who started a planned spy system, espionage system, and the same system was restructured and which strengthened during his Alauddin's time. Okay, so and like the Balban, he also banned certain social parties and taking the liquor or wine by the nobles or like that. And he also strictly followed and strictly some restrictions also imposed in between the relations of certain nobles. Okay, so and he was the first sultan who started collecting the revenue in the form of cash and kind. Okay, so then uh, we also had discussion over his market reforms, and officers called Diwani Riyasat were appointed in the offices called the Shahnai Mandi to stand at the market, and merchants should have to register themselves in the Shahnai Mandi before selling their, and he fixed the prices of necessary commodities which were below the normal market rates. Okay, so whoever whoever want to follow these instructions given by the government, they will severely punishment given the punishments, and so that the merchants can follow the prices which fixed by the government, and he strictly prohibited the black marketing, and allowed in introduce the scientific method of measurement of land for the assessment of land revenue, which is also a forerunner system which followed during the time of Sher Shah and Akbar. And he imposed heavy taxes on Sardar, Jagirs, and Jagirdars and ulemas. And because these were the people who got land grants from the government and who enjoyed the income without paying any, they are because they have some concessions from the government, so that the huge income to the state was somewhat decreased due to these certain free land grants to these Sardars, Jagirdars, and Ulemas. And the post of special officer, Mastakaraj, was created to collect land revenue from the peasants also. Okay, so and the market reforms, the main aim behind the market reforms was to follow a systematic standing army. And during the time of Delhi Sultanates, he was the first Sultan to follow the standing army. And even his army also had a great strength because he followed a division of army, military, because nearly during this time 3 to 4 divisions we find, like infantry, cavalry, and army, and infantry, like that. Such a divisions you see, and these divisions also had some strong leadership under the strong leadership under certain military officials, and a strong efficient revenue administration was set up. A large number of accountants and collectors and agents were hired to the administer the system, and during his time number of accounts officers to maintain the accounts, and revenue collectors are appointed, and these officials were well paid, but were subjected to severe punishments if found to be take some bribe. Okay, so if any official followed the corrupt measure or corrupt way while collecting the revenue, and if the if it was proved, definitely Alauddin Khilji's military ambition is required to standing and strong army, and he introduced the system of branding of horses and maintenance of discipline to these top soldiers to prevent false muscles and corrupt practices. And Alauddin abolished the Jagir system and paid the salaries in class. Okay, so after Alauddin Khilji, uh, we there are we don't find such important important or efficient rulers. Okay, so in Alauddin's achievement could not be sustained by his successors, and process of decline began soon after his death on the 6th January 1316. Okay, so Malik Kafur set aside the claims of heir apparent Qadir Khan and crowned an infant son of the late Sultan and began to rule in his name. Okay, so Malik Kapoor tried to uh, 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 tried his best to rule after the Alauddin's death. Okay, so on behalf of his minor son, infant son, Kadir Khan, the Malik Kapoor, who tried to rule, um, but 35 days after, another son Alauddin murdered Kafur and ascended the throne as Qutbuddin Mubarak Shah. Okay, so 35 days of his rule, Mubarak Shah killed Malik Kafur, and then Mubarak Shah came to the throne. And but being weak and he was a weak and inefficient ruler. He let the administration drift into disorder, and his only noteworthy acts were to march to Devagiri and dispatch an army to Gujarat. Otherwise, the 4 years of his reign were made by floods and some revolts on. Okay, so his own wazir, Khusru Khan, who originally hailed from the Gujarat, and conspired against him and had him murdered. And this gave Ghazi Malik, the warden of the marches, a chance for his rise, and he started the slogan of Islam in danger, collected a large number of followers, and appeared before the Delhi. And Khusru was defeated and killed, and Ghazi Malik ascended the throne as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq in the September 1320. Okay, so after death of uh, Alauddin Khilji up from 1316 to 20. In the 4 years, you see some inefficiency in the leadership and change of leadership, and one or two rulers came to the power. Okay, so finally, Ghazi Malik, who came to the throne, and he's in the name of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He came to the throne in 1320. Okay, so the new king tried to infuse fresh life into the administration, which had been thrown out of gear during his reign of Qutbuddin and Khusru Shah. And he looked after the interests of the peasants and soldiers, and ruled as a mild and generous king. Okay, so and in 1321, he sent his son Prince Juna Khan to the Warangal, suppressed the Prataparudra Deva, who had thrown off the Turkish yoke, and Juna Khan could not achieve much on the occasion. But 2 years later, he marched to Warangal again and annexed it. And in 1324, the Sultan himself marched into Bengal to restore the order. Okay, so on his return to Delhi, he was killed by the fall of pavilion which Juna Khan had erected for his reception, and the prince was reasonably suspected of having caused his father's death. Okay, so due to the conspiracy of Juna Khan, and later called as Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he killed Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq and came to the throne in 1325. Okay, so you are well known that the ruling of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, one of the remarkable duration in the history of India, not only in the history of Delhi Sultans, but also in the medieval part of India. Okay, because his reforms, which had some popularity at that time, because he followed such a renovative policies, and he tried to improve the treasury the strength of treasury of Delhi Sultans, and by influencing the other parts of the rulers of other parts of the world, like the Mongols. He tried to introduce a token currency in the Indian territories, and not only that, due to certain raids over the Delhi, he want to change the capital to Devagiri, because Devagiri is centrally located, and which capturing Devagiri is somewhat difficult to the external attacks or any invasions from the external. Okay, so such reforms he followed, and due to the high production in the Doab area, particularly in between the Ganga Yamuna Doab, he also enhanced the land revenue in the Doab area, so that he got some revolt from the peasants, and during his tenure, nearly 40 peasant revolts arose. Okay, so before going to that, I have to give you one or two his personal things, and then I'll move to his reforms. Okay. So Juna Khan succeeded his father in 1325, and under the title of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he stands out in the history of a history as a colorful and controversial figure. And of all the Turkish rulers who sat upon the Delhi throne, he was the most learned and accomplished a person, a lover of fine arts, and a cultured scholar of philosophy, and fairly good poet. And he was such a person who had his he had known nearly 5 to 6 languages. Okay, so and but he seems to have overestimated his ability and wisdom, and thought that the king could do no wrong. Okay, so because everything, each program from a emperor may be correct, or everyone in the kingdom or the empire should follow. Okay, so he carried out a number of experiments in the statecraft, but had no luck with any of them. And the result was that, in the spite of his personal accomplishment, his reign was a complete failure. Okay, so because his ideology is somewhat renovative, and rationalistic thinking, and the rationalistic thinking is not suitable for at the time. Okay, so as a scholar and a efficient scholar, and he want to introduce the new things in the his kingdom or his empire, but the people of empire were not received in proper way. Okay, so because these those renovations are not suitable at that time, so that he failed. Okay, so the first measure of Sultan was to enhance the land revenue in the Doab, which caused. Okay, so in the 1326 and 27, he ordered the transfer of the capital to Devagiri, and which involved almost a wholesale transfer of the population. Okay, so and the suffering of the people on journey over 1100 kilometers was indescribable, in spite of Sultan's efforts to make to it easier. Okay, so a little later, for some reasons, the people were ordered back to the old capital again, from Devagiri to Delhi. Okay, so which caused great distress. And another novel act of the Sultan was the introduction of the token copper coin, which was to be regarded as equal value with the silver money. Okay, so and people soon began to manufacture copper coins in large numbers, with the result that bad money drove out and good money. Okay, so where the bad money drove the good money. In the sense, the these token copper coin was drove out the silver and gold coins. Okay, so and the trade came to an standstill, and business was paralyzed. And although the Sultan readily gave gold and silver in exchange for the copper coins, and the loss to the exchequer was immense. Okay, so where the silver and gold reserve in the treasury was completely complete. The people are taking the gold and silver coins, and they are paying only the copper coin. Okay, so even though no proper management or no proper supervision has taken place on the minting of these coins, so that every house became a mint, and every person minting their own coin and paying to the government, so that the high value metal coins were receiving the people from the government, and government receiving the low value coins. Okay, so that the treasury was emptied. Okay, without proper supervision. But his idea is the great one. His thinking was great one, because at that time no sultan or no ruler tried to impose or follow such things at that time. Okay, so he has such a revolutionary act which followed. Okay, so Muhammad bin Tughlaq was equally unlucky in his military expeditions, and in the early years of the reign, he incurred huge expenses in preparation for the conquest of Khurasan, but suddenly gave up the project. And a little later, he persuaded a Mongol invader, Tamersheren, to retire by offering him a bribe. And taking advantage of these setbacks to the Sultan's prestige, Jalaluddin Hassan Shah of Malabar rose in revolt in 1334. And 4 years later, Fakhruddin declared himself independent in Bengal. Although Sultan captured Nagarkot, Kangra in 1337, and next year led an expedition to Karachil in Humayun, and in 1340-41 defeated Ainul Mulk Multani, who had revolted in Awadh. Yet during the period of the Deccan was slipping out his hands, and Malabar became independent in 1334. And 2 years later, Harihara and his brother Bukkaraya founded his kingdom of Vijayanagara. Okay, so rebellions broke out also in Gujarat and Daulatabad. Okay, so and famous Bahmani kingdom in Deccan also existed. Emerged, and in Gujarat, the Sultan pursued the rebel Tagi from place to place, but his death broke down under the strain, and he breathed his last breath in the March 1351. Okay, so at a village Sonda near Tata in Sindh, which was the end of ill-starred monarch who was known to his contemporaries as a mixture of opposites, and also a such important historians during the time of medieval treated him as a prince of Mania. Okay, so he had various and some variant ideologies, and a controversial personality. And even though his thoughts and his ideology is somewhat different with the other rulers at that time. Okay, so students, this is end of my class today, because as a part of Tughlaq, another personality like Firoz Shah Tughlaq, another important ruler who ruled according to the and who followed some flexible programs, and who was the Sultan who started a certain a separate department to feed the slaves, and he was the Sultan who reimposed the Ikta system again. Okay, so and granting the lands to the scholarly personalities are like that. Okay, so and I also I have to be repeat again the Muhammad bin Tughlaq's achievements in the next class, and I will complete Firoz Shah Tughlaq's effort and his tenure. And I also give you some more things about the Taimur invasion, which taken place in 1398, or like that. And then we move to the Sayyids. Okay. So, dear students, this is end of my class today, and I will give you. I will meet you again in next class after the 11. Okay. So this is end of my class, students. Regarding my class, you have any doubts or clarifications? Now you are welcome to ask. Students, are you hearing? Please respond. Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Are you hearing or not?
I hearing,
Yeah.
sir.
Is it clear? My lecture?
Clear, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I am ending my class now, and I will meet you after 11 again. Okay, so thank you.